According to an article printed in the Detroit News on April 2, 2009, the number of people leaving Michigan has skyrocketed since 2001, costing Michigan 465,000 people. That's over twice the residential population of Grand Rapids disappearing. 1/4 of adults still in Michigan have a 4-year degree compared to the 39% that left. The majority of those leaving are in their late 20s. This exodus creates what is known as a ripple effect in the economy. So we ask, how can we retain these young professionals in-state and in Grand Rapids? There needs to be a change at home in Grand Rapids if we are going to compete for our losses.
Yeah. Not just me, but me and a whole bunch of people. We talk about this. It feels like things, and it's all like this visceral feel, right? It feels like things are getting towards a tipping point. We don't know where it's going to go, but that's okay. It needs to go over the hump.
And I ended up going to college in Grand Rapids, and then entered college in 1990. And at that time, during my college years, we didn't venture to downtown Grand Rapids. To us as college students, and think about what do we want to do on the weekend, that was not a place you'd go to go dancing or go to restaurants, or there was nothing going on for people that age. It wasn't a vibrant downtown. There wasn't much nightlife there.
I grew up here, and it was always called Bland Rapids, and my goal was to get out as soon as I could. And at 18, I went to Michigan State, and I didn't come back till I was 38. When I did come back, I decided to just kind of try to do my part to make it a more interesting city rather than complaining about it all the time.
Up to 2006, many of the businesses in the Cherry Wealthy Street district were unsuccessful. Businesses were frequently going under, leaving the buildings abandoned.
So when I started Hopcat, there was nothing going on Cherry Street. There was no Brewery Revamp, there was no Greenwell, there was no Grove, there was no Maru Sushi. All those things are newer. There was no Winchester back then. A lot of vacant buildings, and a lot of landowners just sitting on their buildings because they got there was a tax abatement, which I think is about to end, but for the last 10 years or so, the property owners there haven't paid any taxes. And so that's what was happening. There was no rehabilitation going on. There was no urgency on the property owners to try to do something to increase the value. They just basically sat there. Now things have really changed because the tax abatement is about to end.
Yeah, Grand Rapids in the 13 years that I've been here has really changed quite a bit. Businesses weren't necessarily as caring for their employees as they are now, because it was money was the bottom line.
We're at the point in Grand Rapids where there are some entrepreneur business, definitely in the medical field, opportunities here to stay, but I also think we're at the point where some of the bigger salaries can be made elsewhere, particularly on the coast, the East Coast, the West Coast. That might be part of the reason I would venture as maybe why later 20-somethings are leaving.
For some young professionals, leaving is the only answer. For others, like Mark Sellers, leaving can give you a new insight.
My company's called Barfly Ventures, and I've been kind of a brewery fly for years. I've been going to breweries all over the country and all over the world. I've been to Germany, Bavaria, southern Germany, Belgium, Denmark, Norway, Italy. All those places have some really interesting beer stuff going on. I've been to Czech Republic as well as 48 U.S. states, and all of those places I've been to breweries, brew pubs, and beer bars. So a lot of the times that I was traveling, I was doing mental research, and I didn't really do it with the thought that I would ever start a brewery. The location became available downtown, and I decided to start it as kind of a fun thing to do. Started Hopcat 2007 as a bar that I could just hang out at myself.
I think Grand Rapids itself speaks for itself in the number of new restaurants and opportunities to get out and engage in the community. But professionally, I think it's really important that young people have opportunities to mentor and to learn from others within their own field.
There's a huge part of the population that does and is seeing a culture change in terms of the kind of the progressive stuff that's going on. It's not as conservative as it used to be. There's a lot more entertainment options. I think that people are enjoying that and they want it to continue.
Grand Rapids is still experiencing a swift culture change. Since losing over 7,000 people in 2008, startups have been sprouting all over the city. 63% of businesses in Grand Rapids since 2008 are new businesses. Demand for talent has been skyrocketing since 2008, yet young professionals aren't seeing Grand Rapids as a place for opportunity. Over 100 local entrepreneurs in the West Michigan area were asked if they agreed that companies are able to recruit nearly all of their professional workforce from within the local area. Less than 55% agreed. What is it that these new companies are looking for? And what is it that young professionals are interested in?
The young professionals that are working within those businesses feel like innovation is a part of the culture within their business, and young people, they want to be in organizations that care about innovation and care about changing and care about improving. Grand Rapids is a place where innovation is really, really important, and keeping young talent here should be the goal for many, many years to come.
If keeping young talent in Grand Rapids is so important, have the right actions been taken to inform young professionals about the changes happening in Grand Rapids? 50% of the same entrepreneurs disagree that the local media follows the fortunes of startups and mid-sized growth companies with the same intensity they do with large corporations. Does a lack of attention to the subject mean that young professionals don't benefit Grand Rapids?
I think one of the great things that new students bring is a freshness of perspective. New students may have learned a lot of stuff theoretically, but as far as kind of practical application, they come in as blank slates. Having them involved in Grand Rapids necessarily leads to a series of new projects that haven't existed before. I think it continues to go back to that naive optimism, where they're willing to try things where other people may have failed before and the timing just wasn't right. And so having kind of this whole series of new projects going throughout the city, a project being an event or a nonprofit or a for-profit organization or networking events and stuff like that, adds to kind of the cultural density within the city.
I talk to people almost every day that are new to Grand Rapids and are blown away at how cool it is down here.
I've seen some dramatic changes culturally with things like Art Prize happening in Grand Rapids, where I think the community is thinking more tightly about how it can participate with itself.
I think, especially since you have the early 20-somethings starting to settle in, right, and appreciating and enjoying the lifestyle they have here, that's not going to be an easy decision to leave. And I think in the long run, with the trends in real estate and salaries, it is going to be really attractive for later, as they get older, to stay in Grand Rapids.
For the first time in years, Grand Rapids is a desirable place to live. The pulse of our city relies on capturing new talent and casting away all the doubts caused by past stereotypes. An evolving Grand Rapids is alive and well, looking forward to the potential only our youth can put into motion.